So it is time to be a queen. Awesome, here we go. So the video quality should be way better now. I was intentionally recording at a lower quality just to look after the file size, but I got the space, so I'm going to use it. I may have went through the tutorial really quickly, but I will be quickly explaining all of the mechanics pretty much. In fact, we're going to start by talking about how to take advantage of one of the little exploits and how this works. So let's just spell that out just to begin. There are modifiers on this screen more than just the ones that are the result of your mood. So in addition to these bases of +1 and -2 or whatever, you also get a modifier for learning each skill based on your total knowledge in that skill group, and also for your total knowledge in the skill class, social, physical, intellectual, or mystical. It's the same there, but at a slower rate. So as you learn more of, say, composure, you also learn elegance and presence and composure faster, and you even learn everything in conversation and expression a little bit faster. So specializing in one of these groups right away is really helpful. However, another thing to notice about that is this, and it's that when you take your classes, which it says are in the morning and evening, these two times are actually at the same time. So when you take classes that are in the same skill group for 1 week, they don't apply their modifier to each other. It works out what the modifier is before it starts and then applies them. So if you want to get the most advantage out of, say, if you wanted to study something in social and something in intellectual, you'd want to study something in social and something in intellectual on 1 week, and the next week study something in social and something in intellectual. You don't want to double up in one group for 1 week of study, because you'll get to the same endpoint but with slightly less skill knowledge. So with that in mind, one of the first things I'm going to decide to do is I'm going to want to study something in royal demeanor, and since I've decided that I'm going to do that, I'm going to find an excuse to study something that is not in the social group at all. So the reason that I would want to study royal demeanor, though, is pretty much this, So here we are. We're taking up the crown to become the Queen of Nova. We're not queen yet, but we're supposed to be the monarch. Thinking, okay, let's figure out how things work here. Let's not start ordering people around without, getting accustomed to how things work. We don't want to upset anybody, and in the sense that it's kind of foolish to do that without being able to make a claim as to knowing how things work. It's what do I know telling people to stop what they're doing? So I'm going to learn how to acclimate to the throne a bit. So, and specifically I was thinking I would want to take the form of something like, the kind of royal bearing that should help instill confidence in people. Let's try and let's be a queen who seems like she's ready to be the queen. So long as we're running a monarchy here, monarchy not exactly an ideal form of government, apparently, but this is the one we got. So let's try and avoid creating a panic. Let's try and look like we know what we're doing. Let's take it seriously. We have the best tutors. We can do it. So royal demeanor pretty much is what I was thinking. And so we have composure. Composure is really good. I like the idea of composure. Bear pain, fear, and surprise without flinching. Elegance. It's kind of strange to tell what the difference is between elegance and composure just from this description. I've definitely seen prefer composure. It looks more mechanical. It's, balancing your emotional state able to continue to concentrate and so on. Presence is really neat though. Aura of confidence and command. So it seems like that's kind of what we're aiming for. It also feels though sort of like it feels kind of fake to try and instill a feeling of presence in people because we don't actually know anything about how to run the kingdom. So it seems kind of fake. So I'm going to go with studying composure. So this is kind of how the game's going to run. This is kind of how I'm going to be making these decisions. I'm going to be thinking about what I sort of want to do, and I'm going to try to pick from among these. But we're also working in a little bit of trying to take advantage of how the game really mechanically works. And I don't think those two things are at odds. So let's see how it works out. So now our other skill, so here's that issue. You kind of wish that you could get the same information from this page as on this page. You really should be able to, but I mean, okay, it's fine, I guess. It functions. You look at this stuff, you study, and then when you know what you're going to do, you go onto the classes page. So I want to study something. I want to not study something in the social group, because I'll be able to get a greater advantage next week anyway. Assuming I ever want to study something that's not social. I mean, I could like just max out the social group entirely, and then I would be building up things twice as fast. But I don't think that's really going to work out. I'm gonna need another group of some kind. I mean, like, I can't run a kingdom on social mores alone. Physical, I'm going to just sort of ignore this whole group right away. It seems like I should learn more about how things work before I decide to go into training. Now, I've picked up that apparently one of these, I think running or something, unlocks a weekend activity so that you can do exercise or go hunting or something. And it's useful because of how it's a mood controlling tool. But it doesn't seem like I want to go into this right away, especially since I don't know anything about any actual details. They haven't told me anything. It's making me make a decision based on just the idea that I'm becoming a monarch, which is also kind of cool. You start off, it's making you ask, what would you do as a queen without any particular information? And things don't go that badly just for making a terrible choice right away. With the exception that the game does like killing you if you do something really dumb. Which is the fun part of the game, I suppose. Animal handling seems like a trap. It seems like a really, really nasty trap. I mean, raising a falcon is pretty badass, but I just don't see that really being helpful right away. And as I said, specialization. I don't really think I'm going to be focusing on anything in physical right away. It seems like I want a lot of intellectual traits. Mystical is really cool. I mean, divination, that seems kind of great, but even meditation would be important for pretty much all the reasons that composure would be important, at least based on the word that it appears to be. So, but I'm going to go with intellectual, and looking at these, I was thinking of just history really quickly, because Novan history, the local history, should help me figure out what's going on, what am I walking into. It would be pretty pitiful to try and start ruling with 0 in this for any length of time. So that's quick. I can just do that right away. So here we go. Composure and history, Novan history. And so let's see what happens with that. Just really quickly, the outfit page, I don't have any other custom outfits on this page. You unlock them under certain conditions. On the screen isn't anything yet. And that's how this game works. You pick classes, you study, and then things happen. So yes, as it says, we are too depressed to focus properly on this subject right now. This is another addition from the patch. That's neat, because it used to just say studying, and you were just like, I'm studying. This page seems really boring. If it's the first screen you see, you even know that anything's supposed to be written here. So that's good. And history. So here we go. We've learned some history. History of our domain. Hundreds of years ago, Nova was the center of a great empire, spanning the length of the western coast, as well as a few island territories. Over time, your influence has waned. Ooh, that's really important to know, because there could be some old power in the kingdom that hungers for what we have lost. So right away, really helpful stuff. So here's Elodie. What's all that noise outside? Who's here? Oh, it's my cousins and my aunt and uncle. What you are hearing is the one voice that I am going to be doing. It's not that I dislike voice acting. I really wish I could, but you are listening to the one and only voice that I have. So we're just going to bear that and move on. Occasionally I might comment on how I imagine these characters seem like they sound. Like this woman here seems to be putting on some kind of affected expression. Like she would go, "Darling, we were so terribly sorry to hear about your mother Fidelia." But it would be exhausting for me to do that all the time, so just gonna read it. Elodie, thank you. Oh, she seems chipper already. Okay. Laurent, Duke of Merva. I assume that... Oh, darn it. Darn, I can't go backwards. Ah, I missed the question mark button. I assume that that man is our uncle or something. And so, this is our cousin, yes. And she apparently is familiar with us enough to call us Lodi. And we call her Lottie. That's nice. I haven't seen you in ages. Will you be staying long? Yep. Mommy said we'd be here all month. Oh, it's Mummy. Yes. Okay, we're all very English here. Alright. Mummy said we'd be here all month. And man, you have anime eyes. They're like, wow. Just sparkling red things. At least Elodie here has pupils or something. Maybe we'll have some time to talk later. Okay, and we've studied and now it's the weekend, so let's make sure we look at all of these tools. Having seen, as I said, a few weeks of this game before, everything on this screen is pretty much fixed except for some plot elements that will change every so often. So for this week, we can visit the two people that we just saw. And the other thing is we can choose to try to manipulate our mood. You would think that there might some of the time be something other than an effect to your mood that happens when you go to one of these, but really that's all they do. They affect your mood that I've ever seen. So thinking about what we want to do on the weekend, we're afraid, we're depressed. Yes, I saw I could also talk to my father. Don't see a specific reason to do that. It seems pretty natural to go over to talk to Charlotte. I mean, what I might do on the weekend would be try and cheer up, get to understand the castle grounds. Except the most effective way to cheer up would almost certainly be to actually talk to my friend and cousin. So, I would want to do that. Like, playing with the toys makes you more lonely. It's kind of scary. Walking in the gardens. This attend service is going to be really helpful. I'm going to talk about that later. So, here we go. Visit Charlotte. I love this room. It's so much bigger than mine back home. You should visit more often. It's awful that the only time I get to see you is something like this. I know your brother and sister are still too young, but why haven't you come to school? My mother worries about you. She doesn't think anywhere but home is safe. I understand. I'm probably not going to be allowed to leave this castle until my birthday. But at least we can have fun together here. Okay, so yeah, as you notice, the game didn't apparently tell me anything happened, but it did. I became more cheerful from that encounter. It just didn't tell me that. This is going to be so frustrating. That's what's wrong with using hide feedback. It should only hide the skill checks, but it hides all the feedback. If I could do one thing and just go ahead and change the programming right now, it would be that. But I haven't had any luck going right into the Python code. The obvious Control F search doesn't reveal anything. So. So as you can see, the screen just cut away. This is a graft of another recording onto what you've seen so far. And I want to apologize for that. My intention is for this Let's Play to be an unabridged, unfiltered sharing of my thought process and reactions to the game, but I'm working through some technical limitations here, and I'm trying a number of different solutions. I really hope to have this worked out by episode 4, I suppose. More details I'm going to put in the video description about my thoughts on this, so just going to attempt to get right into the game here. So, as we've just seen, we've passed 1 week, and so from one point of view, not a lot happened. From another point of view, the game is saying, hey, relax, you don't die right away, you know, maybe have fun with this, just try things. And so, yeah, the only real problem is that as I've said, I have seen ahead to a bit of the way into this game, so I know the dread that's coming, which is coloring the way that I'm playing through this. But I can appreciate the construction of the game in nudging me towards approaching it like that. So here's what we're gonna do. So we've built up some skill in the social category, and we've built up some skill in the history skill group, and as you can see, the 5 skill became a 100th alteration for this skill alteration. To work out the actual effect as though, I have to multiply this number by 5 to figure out how much less than 10 the skill gain is going to be, and that's just, it's pretty silly. I may even have made a mistake just now, actually. No, yeah, it's 5 times that, so like minus 5 plus 0.25, it'll be minus 4.75, I think. So we'll get just over 5 again if we study something in royal demeanor. What I actually want to do is want to continue working on the social group. Because we're now afraid, we can now study conversation without any penalties, and court manners lies in the realm of the things that I talked about already. Learning to act more like someone who belongs in court. Not only that, but the skill will also allow us to interpret the manners of the other characters. So that'll be really helpful. So I'm probably going to choose something in conversation, which will continue to build up the social group, and leave royal demeanor for now. I'm going to be, even though I said afraid seems worse than depression, I meant it seems like the emotional state of being afraid is worse subjectively than being depressed. You know, afraid is a very stressful kind of situation. Not to downplay depression, I'm just saying that afraid is a very high stress situation. Depression is something you have to move out of. They're both important to address. Now, in terms of mechanics, from both ends, the effect on my studying is better for now than the effect of depression. And also, mechanics, the way mood alteration is going to work is, in order to change my mood from afraid, I can either become more angry, which will reassert depression, or I can become more willful yielding, more pressured lonely, and it has to go up to and exceed the degree of 2 that I am afraid. So I have to reach 3 willful or 3 yielding. Or I can combine the two. I can try and become more even in afraidness and depression, which will allow smaller changes along any of the emotional dimensions to put me where I want to be. Which is another kind of neat way that the game works, in that as long as these hearts are near the center, it is kind of like she's evenly tuned, in the sense that she has more control over her emotions. It does mean that small changes in her emotional state will change her actual mood, which seems like then it's more volatile, but you know, it's fun to work with. I mean, as I said, the idea of even using mood as part of the game is just, it's so creative. I love it. So here we are. I'm going to study something in conversation. Let's just bang that out right now. And then I'm going to study something that's not social. And just to have fun with it, let's, okay, it'll either be some history or some medicine, I guess. Economics. No, it feels strange. I'm just going to keep specializing. Going to study up on some history, some court manners. Let's let the plot unfold a bit more. Figure out what we're going to be doing. Okay, so classes. I will study conversation, flattery, court manners, public speaking, court manners, and history. Novan history or world history? See, we get the same skill bonus between these two, so let's diversify world history. No. Novan history. Because I'm already diversifying up here. Done. I review the correct greetings for guests according to rank and when to extend your hand to another. All nobles expect their due honors. See? Right away. If I had started ignoring this stuff, then they would have, you know, they would have already started planning how to get rid of me, because they would have been all offended. Nova's history involves an endless slew of names and dates. Even as small as it's become, there are 10 dukedoms. No, 11 now, plus the royal line. You hope no one expects you to memorize every lineage. Okay. Oh, dramatic music. Elodie, wondering what the commotion is outside. This mysterious woman, Duchess of her soul. I have come to pay my respects in honor of your mother. Oh, shots fired. You have no respect or honor. It's because of you and your powers that my wife is dead. That is a weighty accusation, to say the least. Elodie, appropriately shocked. I am a lumen, as was she, and like every lumen, I am willing to give my life if necessary to protect our domain. Hinting, but not actually stating, that is why she is now dead. Your line has been traitors for 200 years. I won't have you corrupting my daughter, and there's some real bad blood going on here. That is for the crown princess to decide. Elodie, your mother trusted me, and I have much to teach you. And okay, right away. So this decision, and here's the way I'm going to play this. I actually think that she is serious. However, it's because that I think she's serious that I am going to order her arrested. Now, this might seem like a crazy abuse of power, but the fact is, I can get away with it. And it seems like she's not only approached me to be my ally, she's approached me to tell me very serious and grave things. So I'm thinking that if she's really serious, then me having her play a little stint in the dungeon will really be a test of her character in case she is trying to manipulate me. If I, let's have her toss her in the dungeon and see how serious she is. And again, crazy abuse of power, but the point here is to have fun with being a monarch, so arrest her. And Elodie here seems to have assumed that I actually think she's a traitor, but we're going to pretend that she's just putting on a really good act, like I want her to. You are a traitor to the crown, and I ought to have you executed. Guards, arrest her. Throw her into the castle dungeons and let her rot. I immediately regret this decision. Well, I suppose she won't be a problem anymore. Oh, she will. She will, buddy boy. So to talk about these options, the neat one of these is attend service. And what a tense service actually is it gives you a -1 to your most extreme emotional state, whatever that is at the time. So it's something that's consistently useful to move Elodie towards a more even mood. It's the only one that will always do that. These other ones do what they do all the time, except I think I saw Explore Castle do something different one time. And Visit Dungeons will allow me to actually visit that woman. So I'm going to leave her there for a whole week, actually, because running off down there would, of course, be no trick at all, really. So really, I'm only thinking let's go visit Charlotte and have some more fun to try and cheer up. Because I'm going to want to change my mood, right? So I'm going to want to become more of some other of the other two kinds of moods. But in order to do that, I'm going to be combining that with becoming less afraid. But I need to make sure that I'm still more afraid than I am depressed. At the least. So becoming more cheerful would be good. The only alternative would be talking to my father about that stuff that woman was saying. But, you know, let's go visit Charlotte. Just, because that's important. Let's go have fun. Boink. Oh. Okay. Am I talking to my aunt or Charlotte? Maybe Charlotte knows things about lumens. What do you know about lumens? I am talking to my cousin. Hilarious. Okay. Charlotte asks why. Dad was really angry at the Duchess of Ursul. Mummy says people are scared of lumens because they're jealous. There used to be lots of them in Nova, but there aren't anymore. Why not? I don't know. Maybe someone burned them. Is this supposed to be kind of like an immature answer? Like she literally is just sort of guessing because people burning other people is what happens? Or, I mean, it's definitely implying that there are, you know, pseudo witch hunt things going on. So yeah, I think I'm supposed to assume from this that there's some witch burning that goes on. Now, whether or not lumens are substitutes for witches, or there's also separate witch hunts going on, and she is just generalizing to lumens, I don't know. Okay, so that was odd. Now I had to check my mood. Oh, I became less afraid from talking to her. You know what? I'm not really sure I can deal with hiding feedback. I'm gonna have to figure this out. I think I'm going to work at it for a little while longer and take into account the your feedback, the viewers, in case anyone has some opinions about that. But I really don't want to see the failed skill checks. I want to have fun with not seeing the skill checks. I just wish I could see that feedback, because it adds to some of the meaning when it'll pop up with the feedback, it'll say which actual line altered Elodie's mood, which is part of getting to understand her personality and the character and the story about her personality that the game is telling me. Okay, so here we are back at being depressed. We can't study conversation now. We will actually gain 0.5 skill. It's just awful. So we can study royal demeanor or something, and try and study more history. Well, we can study some intrigue or economics, because we missed out on that. Well, my timer is saying that the allotted time that I have for this episode is almost up. I'm going to attach a detailed explanation of how long I want these episodes to be and how I want that kind of work to the upload of the next episode, and after which things should change because I'm working through the technical limitations, as I said, right now, just to get things running. In that episode, I think I'll begin by talking about another way to take advantage of some of the mechanics of this screen and mood. So yes, let's call it here. And also, after these first 3 episodes, I'll start giving the uploads specific titles instead of just numbers. Should help the record keeping. Okay, so thank you for watching. I'd appreciate your feedback. Leave a comment. I will be reading them, and I have my own view of what this series is going to be like, but I'll be adjusting it over time with input. I'm also well cognizant of the fact that this is my first upload series, so if anyone really has some serious advice on how to do that, I'm going to take it under advisement. I'm not going to be able to change overnight. I already know that. But I would appreciate any sort of guidance or feedback or input, what you like, what you don't like. Because that was really the point of doing this upload. I really like this game. I want to show this game to other people. Let's Plays are really fun though. It's a very broad format that a lot of people can share appreciation of, and that's why I wanted to make one. So thanks for watching, and I'll be up with episode 3 in a short time. Thanks.